Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this session on internships, exchanges, and mentoring. Thank you so much for registering to attend this evening's Quinn Business Information session. You're going to get lots of really good information this evening on the opportunities that are available to you, depending on the degree you wish to choose to study with us at the Quinn School of Business. This evening's session, as I said, focuses on internships, exchanges and mentoring, and you'll hear from a selection of my colleagues in the Quinn School, as well as our current students who have taken one or more of these opportunities. So you'll have your opportunity as well to ask us questions. So remember, you can type your questions throughout the session in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll take your questions and put them to our panel after all of our panelists have spoken. So I'll just introduce my colleagues. Moment. Claire Kingston is our internship manager and will be speaking to you about the Quinn internship program. My colleague Esther Sands is our international affairs manager and will speak to you about exchanges in all of our Quinn business degrees. And Mita Dutt will speak to you about our mentoring program, which is available during stage 2. Our students that we have this evening available to speak with you are Donal Sweeney, Mary Ishaby, and Ellen Jordan, who are all final year Bachelor of Commerce students. So first of all, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague, Claire Kingston, who will give you an overview of our internship program.
Hi everyone, thank you Tara. So as Tara explained, my name is Claire Kingston and I am the internship manager in the Quinn School of Business. So I'm delighted to have the opportunity just to provide you with a brief overview of our internship program and then answer any questions that you may have. So just to give you some background information initially, so our internship program started about 7 years ago. We were finding that employers were increasingly considering internships as a really important part of their graduate recruitment strategy. And for that reason, then we introduced a year-long optional internship as part of the Commerce and Economics and Finance degree programs. So we found that there's many benefits that students can gain from completing an internship, particularly a year-long internship. So students really develop their personal and professional skills. They have the opportunity to apply what they're learning in the classroom into real world working situations. They also expand their personal and professional skills, and many of them, get a graduate offer. It's a stepping stone for their future employment. So it's really key the students have this opportunity to go out during their degree, get some work experience, and that is key to their career decision making for the future. So our students are returning to final year after completing their internship year, and they have an insight into where they want to focus in their final year and where they want to go post completion of their degree. So lots of benefits to completing the internship. So I'm just going to give you a very brief overview then of how the internship fits into these degree programs. So as I said, it is an optional year. Students who are interested can apply in stage 2. If they're successful, they complete their internship in stage 3, so year 3, and then they return to complete final year of their degree. And we provide advice and support to students throughout this process. So we source all of the internship opportunities for these students. Throughout stage 2, students have a series of workshops that they can complete to help them prepare for the internship application process. So that would be workshops on CVs and interview skills. We also run mock interviews with our partner employers. Then for students who are successful in the internship application process, we run a training program to help prepare them for the transition into the workplace. Then throughout the internship year, students remain fully registered students. They're registered to an academic module, and it is a reflective learning module. So they get the opportunity to reflect on their learning throughout, and then to complete a project based on the business that they're working in. So lots of advice and support provided throughout the internship application process and during the internship year. So just to give you an overview then of the types of companies that we work with. So we work with a range of employers on our internship program. We currently work with over 50 employers. So that includes the, many of the top professional services firms, and many of these companies have worked with us since the start of the internship program. So they return year on year to recruit our interns and our students. So the top professional services firms, we also work with companies like Microsoft and Aldi. We work with pharmaceutical companies like Johnson & Johnson and AbbVie and AstraZeneca. We also work with many smaller corporate finance and investment firms there. We have Capnua, we have Clearwater International, Bain Capital, etc. So a range of employers. I suppose our main aim is that we're providing internships across all of the business disciplines that students are interested in. So from accounting and finance to marketing, HR, business development, etc. So whatever you're interested in, we hope to provide internship opportunities in those areas. In terms of participating numbers then, this year we have over 200 students participating in the internship program. And so over the last few years, the number has been growing and growing, but the last couple of years it's been just over 200 students. And we're very proud of that number this year. We've retained our internship numbers despite the pandemic. And I suppose that really is testament to the value that these students are adding to the employers. And we would hope that those numbers would continue to grow like that over the coming years. That number is a combined number of commerce and economics and finance students. So just to give you an idea of the breakdown, in the commerce program, about 50% of those students would opt to complete the internship year. And the economics and finance students, slightly higher percentage, about 75% of those students would opt to complete the internship component. So I hope that's given you a very quick overview of the internship program and how it operates and how it fits into the degree programs. And myself and some of the interns will be available to answer any questions you might have at the end of this session. So I'm now going to hand you over to my colleague, Esther Sands, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about the exchange opportunities available.
Hello, everyone. My name is Esther Sanz. I'm the International Affairs Manager at UCD Quinn School of Business. For the next couple of minutes, I'm going to talk to you about the opportunities that we offer all our students across our different programs to study abroad on exchange. At UCD Quinn School of Business, we actively encourage all our students to participate in an exchange opportunity and study at one of our partner universities around the world. So our BCom international students, they do a major in business and a minor in a language, and they all get to spend a full academic year, which is a stage 3 of their degree, studying abroad on exchange in the country that is relevant to the language of their minor, and they study through the language of their minor. For BCom international students, the year abroad is mandatory. It's a core requirement of their degree program. So they all have to spend that year abroad. For our BCom, economics and finance and BBL students, they have the option to apply to study abroad for the spring trimester of their stage 2 for BCom and economics and finance, and the spring trimester of their stage 3 for our BBL students. And they, in this case, study through the medium of the English language. It's important to note that the semester abroad, in this case, it doesn't add any extra time to the student's degree because the semester abroad replaces the trimester in UCD. So roughly, depending on the year, depending on the program as well, is about 20 to 30% of the students in the program who avail of this opportunity. We have a wide network of partner universities worldwide. Is over 60 partner universities, top highly ranked universities and business schools located all throughout the world, from Europe, Canada, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, Australia, New Zealand. So the choice for our students is very, very wide to study, as I said, as one of the really top business schools and universities around the world. So why should a student consider applying for the exchange? Well, the benefits associated with the study abroad experience are many. To name a few, it is an opportunity for the students to add an international dimension to their degree, to experience a different country, a different culture, a different university, a different learning environment. And by doing so, they learn and they gain that very important perspective. It is an opportunity to develop skills such as adaptability, flexibility, problem solving, to gain that global outlook and intercultural skills. These are all skills, are assets that are very much valued by today's employers in today's globalized business environment. It is also an opportunity to develop personal skills such as self-confidence, such as maturity. And this is kind of what we see in our students returning, is also an opportunity to build a global network of friends and business contacts for the future. So these are all the benefits that we see in our students that take part in an exchange experience. And this is why we continue to grow opportunities for our students, and we continue to encourage students to avail of these opportunities as well. So this is it. It's a brief overview. I'd be happy to take any questions at the end, and I'm going to pass it on now to my colleague, Misha.
Thank you, Esther. Good evening, everybody. Once again, welcome. I am the Placement and Mentoring Manager here at Quinn School of Business. And I think Claire and Esther have run you through two of the key areas where we look to build up students' experience and, in the end, career readiness to an extent. Now, before the exchange program and before the internship, stage 2 students across commerce, commerce international, and economics and finance at this stage have the opportunity to find themselves a business mentor. Now, what that actually means is that the Quinn School of Business has a huge number of alumni. That's people who trod through the same corridors, who did the same courses, who are now out there in the business world, maybe in Dublin, maybe in the States, maybe across the world. But essentially, what we do is at stage 2, where students are really starting to consider what is out there, trying to explore what kind of roles they might be interested in. And you can't make a decision until you've actually started experiencing or understanding as much as you can about what is out there. So at this point, perhaps before you're applying for internships or your exchange program, we give students the opportunity to apply for a mentor, and the program will last for 6 months. You'll be matched with an experienced UCD school business alumni. And during that opportunity, the way that you're matched is that you express the sort of interests that you have, what sort of business areas or types of roles or sectors. And then we look to our mentors to see who has the sort of experience that will be able to sort of fulfill those requirements. And the alumni mentors are very, very generous with their time. What we do is we ask you to make an application for the 6-month program. We provide training, we provide the match to make sure, and then the ask is that you attend a launch as well as full training as to how to deal with the meetings. And following that, the ask is that you have 3 face-to-face, or in this environment, online meetings with your mentor to discuss a wide range of areas. Now, the brilliant thing is that you get a chance to perhaps build up one of your first professional business relationships. It's very much in terms of subject matter down to you what you really want to discover, but the sort of areas that students and mentors cover are often around, mentees finding out what their business mentors do, how they made their decisions to get there and how they got there, looking at CVs, looking at LinkedIn profiles, getting more of an understanding of the sort of industry area, maybe doing mock interviews. But it's a really good sounding base where you have somebody who is professionally interested in you, is an objective sounding board, and it's a confidential environment as well. You get to discuss matters which don't go outside of that relationship. So all in all, we've been running this for 3 years. This year we have over 100 mentoring relationships running, and the program's continuing to grow. It is optional, but given that it's probably, the ask is about 7 or 8 hours of your time across a period of about 6 months, we've really seen the benefits for students, and the feedback has been absolutely great. So it's a great opportunity to set up, again, to build up your networking skills, to build up your career readiness, as we might say, and get a real understanding and confidence from understanding certain industry areas. The program completes in April, and we usually have a closing event as well. As I say, the feedback's been very good. And I guess that, I suppose, the range of participants and alumni that take part, again, you've seen the sort of wide range of employers that we deal with. Our alumni are spread across the KPMGs, the startups, roles sort of in marketing, HR, accountancy, entrepreneurs. We have such a wide varying range of people with experience that can really help you out. And hopefully, in a lot of cases, it's a relationship that endures after the program as well. We've had some real success stories. So great advantage, another really good student experience that you have the opportunity to take part in. And again, sort of get you ready for the next stages, which are the internships, the exchange programs. And we're there the whole time if you need a sounding board at all, or anything to support you, but generally the students fly, and generally it's a good experience. I'll now pass you back to Tara, but again, feel free to ask me any questions on the mentoring program. Thank you.
Thanks, Mita, and thanks Esther and Claire for your overviews as well. Now we're going to hear from our students who have partaken in the mentoring program, in the Quinn internship program, and on semester study abroad. So we have first up Donal Sweeney. Donal, again, is a final year Bachelor of Commerce student, and Donal completed his internship in PwC in the Risk Assurance department. Donal, are you with us?
Hello.
Yeah, off you go.
Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Donal Sweeney and I'm in my 4th and final year here in Commerce. So over the past 2 years, I've taken part in both the mentoring and the internship programs that were just discussed earlier. So to begin, I'll just briefly talk about my experience within the mentoring program. So this started in my 2nd year at UCD, which worked out perfectly because I had just completed a year's worth of business classes, and I was at the stage where I was wondering more about career opportunities and the different fields of study and how they could apply to the real working world. So the application process for a mentor was actually very easy. I just submitted a short piece about my interests and the area of business I'd like to learn more about. So at the time, I was curious and interested in the field of tax and financial services, so I had mentioned that briefly in my application. I was then fortunate enough to be matched with a tax partner from one of the large financial services firm here in Dublin. So before our first meeting, there was plenty of mentee training and advice given by UCD, so we were fully prepared to get the most out of the experience. Misha was also available throughout the year and on hand to give help with any questions or advice we needed. So I first met my mentor in UCD at the launch event, but after that we met for lunch several times, both at his office and within the city centre. So my mentor was able to give me advice on finding the right career path for me, managing a good work-life balance, things such as how to behave in the workplace and weighing the pros and cons of different routes of further study. The whole experience really helped me see how I was learning in college would apply to the real world. It also gave me huge confidence to network and ask questions and apply for jobs I wouldn't have considered beforehand. So having the experience of visiting offices and having lunch with a partner of a large firm also really put me in a business and professional mindset that sticks with me to today. So overall, I was able to build a really good, strong and lasting relationship with my mentor. And that's really helped guide me through decisions, both in college and in the working world. So then after second year, I moved on to an internship in PwC in the risk assurance department for third year. So the application process for this began shortly after I met my mentor actually in second year, and it was also very easy. So all applications were done internally through UCD. So you knew you were applying to quality internships and they all met the course requirements, which made it really easy to find a good internship. So throughout first and second year, there are plenty of opportunities within and outside of UCD that helped me build up my CV. So for example, UCD and the Quinn School itself both hold regular career events and training and internship fairs. And also I had attended the UCD Career Centre before my internship, and that helped me build a perfect CV for my applications. So the internship program stood out to me because of the fact that it was a year-long program, and this meant I was fully integrated into the organization and treated more like an associate or an employee. I was never considered just an intern. So I was given plenty of real work and responsibilities, and I was also working directly with clients and people of all business levels. This gave me huge confidence in working in the real world. It also meant I got experience in a full year of business cycle of busy seasons, Christmas, the summer, and even adapting to working remotely when COVID hit. The internship was also a lot of fun. I made friends and business connections that I'm still in regular contact with and hopefully will be for life. It is also a fully paid internship and a nice break from the traditional exams before you enter your final year of college, which I really enjoyed. So without a doubt, having completed the internship program also helps, opens a lot of opportunities for after graduation. So having from 9 to 12 months of real work experience already completed before graduation will absolutely make you stand out. I was also fortunate enough to get a graduate job offer from my internship, so I'll be going back to PwC in September. This took a lot of pressure off finding a job when I was during final year. So then in summary, yeah, I'd highly recommend all students take advantage of both these programs because they were the most beneficial things I've done during my time at UCD. And if there's any questions at the end, feel free to ask me anything. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Donal. Thanks for your insights there. Mary, I'll call on you next if you want to talk to the audience about your experiences.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary, and like Tara said, I'm a final year commerce student. I did my internship in KPMG in the Financial Services Audit Division. I decided to do the internship because I wanted to gain real life experience before joining the world of work. I was quite indecisive in the areas I wanted to build a career in, and I took advantage of the Quinn internship program to help me make this difficult decision. During my time in KPMG, I worked on different projects which enhanced multiple hard skills, such as my analytical and accounting skills. But I also had time in KPMG to improve my soft skills. I was able to teach transition year students about career prospects. I assisted my manager in the Christmas shoebox donation appeal and had several presentation opportunities. All these extracurricular activities have really enriched my communication, critical thinking, and leadership skills. Along with the increased wealth of knowledge that I gained, the Quinn internship program has also helped me decide where exactly I'd like my future career to be based. The Quinn alumni program has allowed me to solidify my career plan. I was paired up with a partner of a large accounting firm and had the opportunity to ask him about the complex world of work and listen to the advice he was willing to share. My mentor helped me decide on certain career factors by telling me his own experiences from his career and gave me a walkthrough of how he made certain career decisions. The connection that me and my mentor built is still present to this day, and it's such a pleasure to having someone you can rely on and who always encourages you to challenge yourself. In conclusion, Quinn has provided me an extraordinary amount of opportunities, giving me friends for life, experiences I could have never imagined, and a bright future ahead. But I'm sure you'll realize all of this when you decide to be a Quinn student. Thank you and good luck.
Thanks, Mary. Thank you for that. And lastly then, before our Q&A, Ellen, you might speak to us about your semester abroad in the University of Otago in New Zealand, and then also maybe touch on your internship with Northwell Health in New York.
So like Tara said, I'm a final year commerce student, and I luckily was able to do both the internship and the study abroad which some students don't know that you can do both. I studied at the University of Otago in Dunedin in New Zealand. I was given this opportunity as a result of UCD's international partnerships. I chose to study abroad to challenge myself to adapt and integrate into a new culture. It was also fascinating to gain insight into education in a different country, and in particular studying business in a place like New Zealand. It was fascinating to kind of hear about the different challenges they faced due to their geographical location. The University of Otago was quite a small university, so this led to like small class sizes, which I found really personable. Not that UCD is too big, but it was just a different experience, probably class size of about 30. The university also had a good balance between socializing and studying. I was placed in student accommodation where I lived with students of all different nationalities, such as Canadian, American, and a Kiwi. So they were able to give me some local insight. It was also a great opportunity to travel to destinations surrounding UCD or around New Zealand. I also got to experience some beautiful scenic peaks where I found my love of hiking and the great outdoors. I also got to embrace a new setting, and I definitely gained confidence and independence from living abroad. It's definitely the way you kind of have to get to know your shopping and how to cook and to deal with different people. I also forged lifelong friendships, and I have met up with some of these friends since my experience abroad. And then in my third year, I got to take part in the internship, which lasted for 9 months. And Northwell offered a different approach to the internship, where they gave 3 different rotations, and I got to experience real world workplace and also network and gain confidence. So I have thoroughly enjoyed my time thus far in the Quinn School, and I hope you all get to experience it as well as I did. So I welcome any questions, and thank you.
Thanks so much, Ellen, and thanks to all of the speakers this evening, both staff and students. So I suppose that's the end of kind of the formal overviews at the minute. Please send in your questions to us. We have a few that I'm ready to go through now. And there's also just a reminder that we have students on live chat all evening. Back on the main event page, you'll see a blue dot at the bottom right of your screen. So this is our students who are available all evening to live chat. Those students include Alex Bolster. She is a BCom International student, a final year student who has spent a full year abroad. Alex is specializing in Chinese, so she attended 2 universities in China. Sean Russell is an economics and finance student, and Sean is currently doing his internship. So any specific internship questions, if you're interested in Nick and Phi, can go there to Sean. And also Megan Byrne is our business and law student. Megan is taking a summer internship this year in Switzerland. So she can answer your questions if anyone wants to know about summer internships. So some of the questions which have already come into us include, speaking of business and law, I suppose someone has asked, is the Quinn internship program open to business and law students? The answer there is no, and I suppose the reason being that the business and law program is already a 4-year degree program, so there isn't that flexibility, I suppose, to build it into the curriculum like there is with economics and finance and the Bachelor of Commerce program. But you can always apply for summer internships, and you'll get great support in UCD for building your CV, networking skills, interview skills, that type of thing. So there is great support in the university for that. Now let's have a little look at the other questions that are coming in. So Esther, I might come to you first. There is a question here for BCom International. So let me see, there's 2 questions here. Firstly, I suppose with the BCom International, this participant is asking us, do you have to go to the country of the language you're studying, or can it be any partner university? any partner university? And then another second question is, does everybody who applies for the year abroad get in? So I suppose a question on BCom International, the year abroad, and then I suppose the eligibility criteria for applying for a year abroad if you're interested in BCom or economics and finance.
Right, okay, so the first question for the BCom International, the answer is yes, you have to study in the country that is relevant to the language. As a BCom International student, you do a major in business and a minor in a language, whichever one you choose. So the year abroad is actually meant to build those skills, those language skills, as well as intercultural skills and so on. So it's the key element and a mandatory element to the program, because it's the opportunity for the students to improve and to develop those language skills that are key to the program. So if you do a minor in French, you get to study abroad in France at one of our French partner universities, and you get to study business through French, which is the unique element that will allow you to develop your language skills, which are again key to the program. The second question, I think, was about the eligibility criteria. And on the, just to kind of maybe linking with the BCom International, everyone gets to study abroad for a full academic year. It's a mandatory year abroad. So as long as students progress to stage 4, everyone will get that opportunity to spend the full year abroad. The BCom and the economics and finance and the BNL, it is an option to study abroad, and there are certain eligibility criteria that students need to meet in terms of minimum GPA that students need to meet before they are eligible to study abroad, to apply to study abroad. The programs are competitive, and there are certain eligibility criteria, i.e. minimum GPA that students need to have. So I don't know if that answered the question, if that is clear enough.
No, that's great. Thank you, Esther. And there's another question in here just about the places that are available, or I suppose the locations that are available. And they were mentioned in your slide earlier. There are several countries in Europe, several universities in Canada, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. I hope I've got all the countries, Esther. And yeah. Just then, depending on which degree program you're interested in for these students that are asking, what you can do is you can check on the UCD website. If you go to the Bachelor of Commerce webpage, you can see specifically there which partner universities we partner with for BCom and which for BCom International, Business and Law, and Economics and Finance. So you can have a particular look there at the specific universities. Okay, that's great, Esther. Thank you. We might come back to you if there's more questions in your area. Claire, I come to you next just on the internships side of the house. Let me see now. I think I had 2 questions here for you. Yes, so the first one is very specifically kind of asking about internships in financial institutions. And you might be able to explain that sometimes the partners, I suppose, that we work with maybe change year to year, but this person specifically wants to know if we have had any internship partners in the likes of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. Can you shed some light on that?
Sure, yeah, thanks, Tara. So I guess a lot of those firms would have their kind of investment and trading internships would be out at their London offices. Now, we don't specifically advertise those internships as part of our program, but students have the opportunity to apply independently and source their own internship. And we have had students who have done that in the past, who have completed their year-long internship with some of those organizations in London. That has happened, but they would be sourced independently by the students. Many of the students as well would opt to do the summer, the shorter term internships in London as well. So that has been a popular option. And again, as Tara just mentioned there, you know, we do review the list from year to year and our partner employers, so that can change. I suppose on that as well, just to note that, you know, the Quinn School, you know, the programs, especially Ec and Phi and Commerce as well, if students are interested in careers with organizations like that, those big investment firms, you know, that the programs we offer are a route into those degrees, and we support that because we offer, we have offered in the past, what we call the London Finance Trip, and that is run in conjunction with the Quinn School and the Careers Network in UCD. So that's a trip that we sponsored for a select number of students, bringing them to London to meet with these big investment firms and to carry out case study competitions with them, to hear about their internship programs and their graduate programs as well. So definitely there are students on our degrees who progress into those kind of roles in those areas for sure. It's just they're not specifically internships that we advertise as part of our program.
Great, thank you, Claire. And just a second question here through for you. I suppose the internship program is optional for students to apply to, and because of that, it is a competitive process, and it's not guaranteed that every student will land an internship once they apply. So there's a student asking, I suppose, kind of about the proportion of students applying to getting the successful internship in the end. Do you want to maybe just explain a little bit about the application again, and that it is a competitive process?
Yeah, so it is a competitive process. We don't have a GPA requirement. I mean, we feel that the internships should be open to every student, and that's the way that it is. But it is a competitive process because you're submitting your application directly to the relevant employer, and they're assessing your application. You're going through an interview process with them, maybe in some cases an assessment centre as well. So it is correct to say that not every student is successful, but we put a lot of support and help in to try and assist students with those processes. And, we do have a high success rate. So I suppose to specifically answer your question, about 80 to 90% of the students who apply for internship are successful. So we do have a really high success rate, and that is growing as we increase the number of employers that we're working with year on year as well. So, it isn't 100% success, but, very near to it. There is a good opportunity there to source an internship, and we'll do our best to assist you with that as you go along. So hopefully that's given some reassurance that, it is a good success rate and there is a good opportunity there for you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Claire, for that. And there was a question in just from a student about Commerce International. I'll take that one. Is it possible to do an internship during the summer? Absolutely. And remember, when you get to college, you have a big, long summer stretching ahead of you, really for nearly 4 months. And a lot of summer internships are going to be advertised through college networks. So students will get lots of information about summer internships available. Yeah. And then there's so many resources available at UCD to enable you to feel like you're ready to apply for that. So yes, Commerce International and everyone studying our business programs can apply for a summer internship as well. I'll come now to Ellen. Ellen, there's a specific question for you. What did you do in the internship? And did you say it was in New York?
Yes, so I took part in a internship with Northwell Health. They're the largest healthcare system in the state of New York. So the program was a 3-part rotational program. So my first department was government relations, and then the second part was financial and operational kind of measures, and then there was business development was the last one. And so I got to work actually for my second rotation from December until the start of March this year in a hospital itself. So I was able to kind of go to the different units. In one of my projects, I had to work with nurses to kind of streamline their processes. So it was really hands-on, and I had lots and lots of responsibilities, but it was a really, really rewarding experience, and I've made lifelong friends and met so many lovely new people. So thank you.
And it must have been such, I suppose, a different time if you were there whenever COVID hit.
Yeah, so especially that, like, working in a hospital, and I remember when the first case came in, and kind of how the hospital reacted, and the early mornings trying to devise a plan as to how to cater for the kind of overflow that it was amazing to see how they kind of met the needs of the pandemic, I guess. And then obviously I ended up working remotely, but I did stick it out until the end of June.
Brilliant. And I suppose because you had done the trimester abroad in your second year, that must have meant that you were, I suppose, in New Zealand and applying for the Quinn internship program at that time. Is that correct?
Yes, it was. It was. So I ended up actually interviewing at all times of the nights, given the time difference. But it didn't, you know, the employers were really facilitating and there was no problem in terms of interviewing. In some cases I did phone calls, Skypes, and then they, you know, they did take into account the time difference where they could, and it was no problem. And that was really, it really showed employers that I was independent and that they like to see you taking international opportunities. So that definitely was something very beneficial for my CV, and also an amazing time.
Fantastic. Okay, that's great that you have taken so many opportunities, and both Mary and Donal as well have. Just scanning the Q&A list here again, let me check and see. Mita, I think I had one for you. Yes, on the mentoring side of the house, does everyone that applies for a mentor get one? So the mentoring program is, I suppose, in its first couple of years. So I suppose to date on the mentor program, maybe just to let us know how the students have got on that program and the application process for taking part.
Okay, lovely. Well, as Donal mentioned earlier, the application process is fairly straightforward. What a student does is generally needs to give us sort of two or three areas of interest that they have, whether that's sectors or type of roles. This year, for example, every single person who applied for a mentor was able to get one. The only times where we have not, and it's very rare, it might have been one or two in the last 3 years, haven't made a match, is where somebody has been so extremely specific and that they haven't sort of given a wide enough breadth or sort of been an open enough choice to have a mentor. Most of the mentors will have good business experience and a lot to offer. So it's only generally where a student has gone to a very, very specific specialist area of expertise and aren't really willing to look outside of that, where it may be more difficult to make a match. And we don't guarantee matches at the beginning, but generally, as I say, we don't run into that problem very often. It's you know, that would be very specific to a very specific student. So the answer is whilst we don't guarantee that we can give everybody a mentor, generally everybody does get one. I guess that, I hope that answers your question satisfactorily.
Yes, Mita, I think that is very clear. Thank you very much. I'm going to take one last look at the Q&A now, and I'm so sorry if we didn't happen to get to your question this evening. What I would say to you is that if your question's relating to careers, career outcomes, or maybe, you know, how to kind of follow on through from your degree, the next session taking place is the careers and business section. And that will feature one of our graduates, also an industry expert, and one of our colleagues from UCD, from the UCD Careers Network. So showing you what UCD Careers Network, what supports are available to you. So that may be useful to you. And we also, in our download section, have a careers in business fact sheet, which is based on evidence of where our Quinn graduates have gone to work, the kind of roles and sectors that they are working in. So that might be useful for you. So I'll have one more quick scan of the Q&A. Just while I'm doing that, Mary, if you want to come on quickly and just mention that you, in addition, because we're having lots of questions here about summer internships. So in addition to the Quinn internship program, I think you did a summer internship maybe in your second year as well, if you want to mention about that.
Yeah, so I did a summer internship at Bank of America. Again, it was in the audit division, but it was more so internal audit as opposed to KPMG's external audit. And it was really nice to be able to like compare and contrast like the differences between the both of them. And the application process for like the Bank of America was quite intense. Like I had to like fly out to London for the internship, like for the interview, and the process was really long, but it's okay. At the end of the day, still got it. So.
Brilliant, Mary. Thank you. That's great.
Right.
And just before we close out, I think the question that I had was slightly unrelated. Can you do a language you haven't done for the Leaving Cert, which I presume relates to BCom National. So I imagine that, or sorry, rather, when you apply for BCom International, you will apply for 2 different languages. We would advise that you have studied at least one of these languages before. So the second language in a lot of cases is new to students, and you'll take that from beginner level. We don't recommend that you apply for 2 brand new languages that you have never studied before. So that's to answer that. And if you have any further questions on BCom International, Alex Bolster is available to chat in the live chat, and she's a BCom International student. And there's also a quick question here about Commerce International and the year abroad. If that person studies German, yes, you would have to go to a German university. Esther, you might be able to comment. Is there a university in Australia or Switzerland that offers their program through German?
In Switzerland, we don't have any partners at the moment in Switzerland. So for BCom International with German, the partnerships at the moment are in, Germany and one in Austria, in Vienna. That's for German. And what was the other question? Australia is, we have a number of partners.
I think that's it kind of on the European side. And there was a student asking if we had exchange available in the US. I think we have one partner, the University of Tulsa, and that is for business and law students. But there are lots of partner universities in Canada.
Correct, yes.
Thanks, Esther.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think we are going to wrap it up at that, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch our session today. Apologies if we didn't get to your question. Perhaps you would like to ask the students in the live chat. There is also another session taking place beginning at 7 o'clock. It's the Ask Us Anything session. So really, I suppose maybe if your question wasn't answered during this session, you can perhaps transfer over to that session and ask us. And I will be at that session, and I'll be joined by a number of staff and students from various areas in UCD. Thanks to all our staff and students who participated in this webinar. Thanks for their time and their expertise. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you got the information you needed before making your application to study business with us. Thank you so much, and good evening.